All right, here's 5 things you can do if you're having a bad day. Listen, everyone has a bad day. You might watch this video again and again, and that's all right. I have bad days all the time, but a day can start bad, doesn't have to end bad. And actually, in our lives, a lot of times we create the biggest problems during bad days because we get out of control. So I'm gonna go over 5 tips of what I do when I'm having a bad day. Number 1, separation. So what am I talking about? Listen, when you're having a bad day, you are going to be in a bad mood, bad attitude, bad everything, right? And that's going to start to ooze out onto other people in 2 ways. One is you may say things, do things, be nasty, be mean. Come on, be honest. We all go through it. You've been there, you've seen it. So that obviously has its bad effect, right? You might say something you don't want to say or something that, well, you'll regret later. You might hurt someone's feelings. You might be rude. But what's the other way? Hey, energy is it goes through osmosis, okay? Have you ever been around someone, so you may have come up to someone, you're high energy, you're excited, you're happy, and then all of a sudden you're in the room and you're like, I feel sluggish. It's like, it's the energy of the people around you. You don't want, if you're having a bad day, if you're in a bad mood, if you're having a bad attitude, you don't want to put that onto other people around you, your family, your loved ones, your co-workers. Separation. Now, I don't mean separation for a long time. Sometimes all you need to do is separate for 5 minutes, separate for 15 minutes. Go out and have a lunch by yourself. Go for a quick walk. Do whatever you can, but remove yourself from the environment of other people. Now, sometimes I'm having such a bad day, I remove myself for the entire day. And you know what's funny? It actually helps you reboot. It actually helps you get out of the bad day quicker if you separate. So that's tip number 1, separation. All right, tip number 2, you've got to create momentum. So when I'm having a bad day, usually we'll have a bad day because a series of things have not gone well, right? So typically if you're having a bad morning, it's because you woke up to some bad news, some project or something, or someone said something. So you've kind of created what I call negative momentum. Now, we, in life, okay, not just humans, but in life, everything is momentum driven. It's physics, it's actual laws of physics. When an object is in motion, it will remain at motion until acted upon by an opposing force. When an object is at rest, it will remain at rest until acted upon by an opposing force. So when you are in a bad place, a bad mood, you've got to change your momentum. Now, a lot of people, they'll try to go for a big win. So if I'm having a bad day, something didn't go right, I'm going to try to go out and be a hero and try to have a big win. So let's say you're in sales. Now you've had 2 or 3 or 4 back-to-back bad sales calls, right? Maybe the people you're talking to are rude, or they didn't answer the phone or whatever, but you're having a bad day. So now you've got that negative momentum. So a lot of times what people will try to do is they'll try to go for the big win, because they'll say, hey, if I'm this negative, but if I get a win this big, I'll kind of, yank and that's the wrong mentality. What I like to do is create a momentum of positivity. So what I would tell you is if you separate, maybe grab a book. Maybe there's a book you've been wanting to read for a long time, but you haven't gotten into it because you've been procrastinating. And you know what? Read 1 chapter. That's it. Or read 5 pages. Now you will have made positive progress in something that you've been struggling with, hence changing the course of the negative momentum to start being positive. The tiniest little thing. Do something that you have full control over, right? Maybe you've been meaning to eat something healthy and you haven't been doing it. Maybe you've been meaning to call someone that you haven't been doing. Something very small that you could do that will give you that feeling of a win, a small win, but it'll change the momentum, and that's what's most important. So tip number 2 is change the momentum. Go after small wins, and that's going to start to really push you off into a different direction. All right, now let's go over tip number 3. Turn right here to YouTube, baby. That's right. Have you ever watched some of these motivational videos? Have you ever watched something positive? This is a part of separation. Okay, because what I like to do is I've got to change my frame of mind. When we're having a bad day, we've got ourselves, our paradigms, our mind is working a certain way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Facebook, YouTube, whatever social media, and I'm not going to watch the political videos. I'm not going to watch the stuff that makes me angry, which is what we tend to do when we are in a bad mood. I'm going to watch something positive, something uplifting. Maybe you'll come back to this channel, watch this very video, and it'll give you ideas, or you'll watch other videos, and it'll start to change the conversation that's happening, right? Because there's a conversation in your mind that you've got to alter, but it's too hard to do it on your own, so you allow other influences to come in and do it. Maybe you have a friend or someone you can call if you don't like to watch YouTube videos or Facebook videos, which obviously is not the case. You're watching this video, but that's going to be, you got to start to change it. Now you got to do it with something that you have control. So think about this. So far, everything I've told you, you have full control over. The first one was separation. I mean, you could separate yourself at a moment's notice. The second one was small wins. Again, I said, grab a book and read a chapter. You have full control over that. And now I'm telling you, the third thing you can do is find something positive. You know, for me, during the toughest times in my life, I mean, years ago when I was massively in debt, I found the messages of Joel Osteen to be incredibly encouraging. So I'd be going through this bad, and I'd watch one of his videos for 30 minutes and I could see the shift. So the third thing I want to tell you here is turn to a positive message and start to change the way you're thinking. All right, now that's going to roll us right into tip number 4, and that is to change the internal dialogue. Now this might be the hardest one of all, but this will be the one. So if you've created that momentum through tip 1, 2, and 3, you've kind of started to tip the iceberg, I need you to get involved in something positive. So what do I mean? Okay, when we're having a bad day, this is how our internal dialogue looks. It's, oh, nothing works. Everyone stinks. I can't believe that person said this to me. Nothing is going my way. I can't get a single win. Why doesn't everything... Look at that. It's just all negative dialogue, negative dialogue. So what I like to do is I like to force my mind to change the internal dialogue, and that's when I'll do something like, hey, you know what? What am I grateful for? So I separate myself out, I watch one of those videos, I create a small win, I change momentum, and then I'll just say, what am I grateful for? And it's amazing. It's amazing because you can't help but answer that question. Hey, listen, if you're breathing, if you're alive, you have something to be grateful for. I'll be grateful for the car that got me to work that day. I'll be grateful for the people I'm working with. I'll be grateful for my wife. I'll be grateful for my parents. I'll be grateful for my health. I'll be grateful for the fact that I'm alive. I'll be grateful for the food I ate. There's so many things, and all of a sudden you start to pile on the good above the bad. And now what you've done is you started to change the internal dialogue. Rather than focusing on the bad, boom, you start to focus on what is good. So that's the 4th tip. Last but not least by any means, all right? If you're having a bad day and you need a massive turnaround, here's tip number 5. Tip number 5 includes re-immersing yourself into other people. Okay, so tip 1, we started with like, hey, get away from everybody and anybody. Let's start to change the course of your mindset. Now on the last tip, I want to re-infuse you back into society, okay? But very selectively. Listen, you're smart, and I know that you know which people which people kind of set you off, which people know your buttons, which people you should not be talking to if in case you're trying to get over a bad day. But you also know, like, you know this. I know you know the people that can set you off. Now, this has nothing to do with removing people from your life. This has nothing to do with people you love or don't love. Listen, some of my most loved ones, I love them most, are not going to be the people I'll call when I'm having a bad day, right? It's just because their way of talking to me is not going to help me. Now, I also know, and you know, the people in your life that you should talk to when you're having a little bit of a slump. You have friends, you have family members, you have people, there's communities, there's Facebook groups, there's Skype groups, there's groups all over the place where you could kind of go get that positive impact. So here's an example I'll give you. Someone was doing a demonstration once and I thought it was brilliant. They took a glass, it was half full with dirty water. Okay? They took a glass and it was half full of dirty water. And what they did is they wanted to demonstrate, they said, okay, how do we clean this water without ever spilling, without picking up the glass? How do we clean this water without ever picking up the glass? Now you can't spill, because people would say, well, just dump out the bad water. We can't pick up the glass. Now next to this person, what he had was multiple jugs of clean water. And I honestly couldn't think where he was going with this. But what he starts to do is he starts to pour in clean water. It was all half full of dirty water. He pours to the top. Now it's kind of like less dirty water, but it's still dirty. Everyone's like, what's he gonna do? He grabs the next jug and keeps filling. Now the water starts to overflow. And he just keeps filling. He grabs the 3rd jug and keeps filling, grabs the 4th jug and keeps filling. Before you know it, you couldn't see any of the dirty water in the cup anymore because it had all flowed out and the good had come in. So tip number 5, figure out who in your life makes you just feel better. Who in your life that you could talk to. And sometimes you don't even want to talk to them about anything. They don't need to know about the personal issues in your life, but hey, you know what? Their spirit, maybe you go out for a movie with them, for a drink with them, for a meal with them, and it's just the way they are. It just makes you feel better. That's the last tip here. Listen, if you do all 5 of these, I can virtually guarantee you there's no chance that you're gonna keep having a bad day. It's just not possible, all right? So there you go. Go ahead and click subscribe right now. Watch some more videos on this channel. Come back to this video again and again. You will have bad days. It's okay. It's normal. It happens. Come back here. We'll help you get out of it. This is Anik Singal reminding you when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Talk to you soon.